Conflict happens in all aspects of life, and our workplaces are no different. But conflict isn't always a bad thing. It can open up discussions and encourage us to find creative solutions. But as I'm sure we're all aware, it can also lead to plenty of problems. The important part is understanding where these conflicts are coming from and learning to manage them more effectively. So what causes interpersonal conflict at work? Many factors can contribute, but let's address a few that are most common. Frustration or stress. Our workplaces can be stressful, and when we're frustrated, we're often more irritable, increasing the likelihood of conflict. In these situations, it can be helpful, particularly for managers, to notice when stress levels are rising and figure out what they can do to calm down. Misunderstandings. Misunderstandings are common and can certainly lead to conflict. This is especially true when there are misunderstandings about roles or expectations. The best thing to do when things aren't too clear, ask questions. Lack of planning. When there's a lack of planning in the workplace, teams often function under what feels like crisis mode, which increases stress. This stress can easily lead to conflict. Furthermore, the lack of a plan and a clear process can lead to blaming and finger pointing. Problematic staff selection. Sometimes individuals aren't performing the tasks they were hired to do, so others have to pick up the slack. Similarly, in a team, some may have to do a significant portion of the work while others sit back. And poor communication. Poor communication can lead to many problems. So consider where there have been instances of poor communication in the workplace, particularly when they have led to conflict, and consider ways to improve. So how can we better manage these conflicts? Let's go through 5 key steps. First, acknowledge the conflict. It can often feel easier to avoid the problem instead of dealing with it head on, but that may make it worse. The first step in resolving a conflict is acknowledging there's a problem. Second, open up communication and allow everyone to share their story. Open up the lines of communication with the intention of collaboration. Set up a time to have a face-to-face conversation with all parties involved and where everyone is allowed to share their perspective without interruption or judgment. Third, identify the source of the conflict. Often, the source of a conflict isn't immediately apparent, or what appears to be the source on the surface isn't actually the source of the problem. Consider if the conflict is stemming from a workplace issue or process, or from a personality conflict. This can help determine the best course of action. Fourth, make an action plan. Get everyone involved in brainstorming and problem solving to find creative solutions. Once there's an agreed solution, set up a plan and make it happen. And finally, plan for follow-up. It's important to plan for follow-up after the action plan is in place to figure out if things are working and whether or not there's a need for further adjustments. The truth is, we're all going to sometimes run into conflict at work. It's kind of unavoidable. Conflict is a natural part of working with other people. But taking some time to recognize the common sources of conflict can help prevent them from arising in the first place, or at least from getting out of hand. And having an effective conflict resolution strategy will ensure that conflicts are dealt with effectively and respectfully. And who knows, maybe they'll even lead to great new connections and ideas. Consider steps that you can take to effectively manage interpersonal conflict at work.